Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The non-delimitation of delimitation and the delimitation of non-delimitation. إطلاق التقييد وتقييد الإطلاق. You should know, may God have mercy on you, that I placed this chapter here in order for you to know, then to work on how the flow occurs in the disclosure site of separation and union. This disclosure site requires of you that you perfect the delimitation of non-delimitation. For the all-comprehensive name Allah, which refers to the essence, is non-delimitation inscribed upon non-delimitation. However, in order for our union with the Holy Presence to take place, it manifests in letters and discloses itself through the alif, the two lams, and the ha, and thus becomes delimited by letters. I use these words in a figurative sense in order to be able to say anything at all, because when delimitation disappears, speech comes to naught, and all that remains is incapacity, bewilderment, and the spiritual state that is produced by them. Thus, even though the all-comprehensive name appears delimited by letters, the disclosure site of non-delimitation in it is between the lam of gnosis, lamul irfan, and the alif of divine unity and demonstrative knowledge, alif al-tawheed wal-burhan. Moreover, you learn delimitation from the flow through the ha and the two lams, i.e. the lam of passion and the lam of gnosis. However, when you arrive at separation, the gap between the lam and the alif, you must become liminal, you must become barzakhi, between the high and the low, between the basmala and its shadow, so that you may taste all of the presences. One may illustrate the isthmus between the alif of divine unity and the lam of gnosis by thinking of the lam on one side and the alif on the other, with the gap between them being the isthmus, and that gap itself is separated with an upper disclosure site and a lower disclosure site. It has two aspects, one facing above, the other facing below. And horizontally it has two aspects, one facing the alif and the other facing the lam of gnosis. Now, in the disclosure site of the ha of identity that we are currently discussing, the ha of identity manifests itself through the circle, which is an expression of delimitation, whose non-delimitation is the lam of passionate love with respect to the second reading that is expressed as huwa in this phase. As for the separation and union of the ha, which are the fourth and fifth readings of the ha of identity, the delimitation of non-delimitation is through lillah, to God. When you write lillah, you omit the alif as well as the gap between the alif and the lam, and so you produce lillah. Moreover, when I speak of delimitation or taqyid at this disclosure site, it is not the delimitation of the human being that discloses itself through the sensory realm. Rather, it is a delimitation of the spirits in the disclosure site of the malakut, the spiritual realm, just as it was for the Virgin Mary when the spirit disclosed itself to her as a proportioned man, basharan sawiya, in verse 17 of Surah Maryam. The pure meaning of the transcendent spirits became delimited for her in the disclosure site of the spiritual realm, the malakut, not the physical realm. For only those who master the secret of the cosmic laws can bring down that which is transcendent into the visible realm of the senses. This, moreover, is what occurred to the noble companions with the chosen Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, For everyone saw the man dressed in white clothing, which we know because of how Umar al-Faruq, who narrated the hadith, said, quote, "Traces of travel were not visible upon him, and none of us knew him." Then the chosen Prophet ﷺ told them that it was Gabriel who had come to teach them their religion. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد.